Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. I am excited to start today's video by mentioning that there is a new addition to my studio, and that is an external microphone. Finally, after months and months of you all leaving comments letting me know that the audio was poor or that you couldn't hear or all of that, I have gotten an external mic. Thank you to my brother Kevin who got it for me. And actually I have to confess that it was a Christmas gift, so I've had it for a while. But with the arrival of my daughter and going back to work and trying to figure out how to be a mom and a freelancer at the same time, it just kind of fell by the wayside, and I have only just now finally figured out how to use it, and I'm using it, and hopefully the audio in today's video is going to be a lot better. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the topic of this video, which is 7 things that I would say to my younger self. Practice at all costs. Even if the practice doesn't feel focused or serious or important, or if the outcome of the practice isn't what you were hoping for, or if the circumstances of your life aren't ideal, or you only have 5 minutes, or you're not feeling well, you're in bed, you're tired, keep practicing anyway. And I would say also, if you miss a day, if you miss 10 days, if you miss a year, don't use that as an excuse to let yourself stop practicing altogether. If you had a bad day or a bad season and you stop practicing, that's okay. Just pick it up and keep going again. Try to stick with it as much as possible and practice as much as possible. You don't need to know exactly where you're going to get started. All you need to know is that first step that you're going to take. Likewise, you don't need to know what kind of work you're going to make or what the impact will be, what media you use, what you want it to mean, what your style will be. All of that's going to emerge over time without you even thinking about it almost. It's going to be an organic thing that grows up like your handwriting. Don't stress about it. All you need to know is what you're going to do that day and work on that. Goals can be helpful if they're specific, if they're achievable, and if they motivate you to do work. But if they're kind of vague and amorphous, if they're things that you don't have a lot of control over whether you can do or not, and most importantly, if they keep you from working, then they're just not helpful and you need to let them go. Try to make the things that you're working on a day-to-day basis goals that are specific, that you can achieve, that you have control over. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have this sort of big picture dream goals in mind, like having your work on the cover of a New Yorker or working for Disney, something like that, any of those big dreamy goals. But if those are showing up on your to-do list day after day and there's nothing in between you and them, if it's just you and you don't have a little specific steps to work on each day, that's going to end up being demotivating. So try to break those down into bite-sized pieces and have them be goals that you can work on a daily basis, things that you have control over, that you can achieve, things that you could put on your to-do list, like draw for 60 minutes today or upload new work to my portfolio. Those are going to be the goals that are going to really motivate you to keep working day after day and ultimately reach those big picture dream goals. But the worst thing that you could do would be to be demotivated by the big picture goals because you don't have any of the little steps in between. So work on the little steps and keep the big picture in focus, but don't let it rule you. Quit the tactic and not the overall strategy, and definitely not the goal. So, for example, if you think a piece is ruined, take it as an opportunity to try something new, to experiment, try a different media, a different approach, rather than just scrapping it all together. If oil paints aren't working for you, try acrylic. And remember that frustration is a natural part of the process, and it doesn't mean that you should quit. Take the time and put in the effort to learn the conventional way to approach things and use it when it's helpful. And if it's not helpful, if it's holding you back, let it go. Ultimately, the right way to do something is any way that gets you doing it and doing it regularly. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people, not to their process, not to their end result, and certainly not to the tiny little section of their life that you see online. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes, just like you have a lot more going on behind the scenes. So comparing those two things is like comparing apples to oranges, and it's just not helpful. On that note, learn to accept rejection, or even worse, indifference. This is a fact of life for all of us, but especially for people in the creative fields. You're going to put yourself out there over and over and over again, and lots of people are going to say no, and lots more aren't even going to notice, and there's going to be no response, which will feel even worse initially. But just keep going. Don't let it stop you from making work, and don't let it stop you from sharing it. There is no such thing as an overnight success. You're going to look around you and you'll see lots of people that seem like they got there overnight, that seem like everything was easy for them, that they just drew the lottery ticket and instantly everything worked out their way. There is always more to the story. There's always more going on behind the scenes. And even if something looks like an instant overnight success, it is almost certainly not. If you want to pursue art as your life's work, think of it that way. Think about it as a life's work, and expect it to take a long time, years, decades even, to mature and become what it's ultimately going to be. So those are the 7 things that I would tell my younger self. And before I wrap up this video, I do want to just really quickly give a little caveat, and that is that I actually did have lots of people telling me versions of this stuff when I was younger, and even though I heard it and it seemed like it made sense and it seemed like it was true, I hadn't been able to integrate it into my personality and my process, my life, my unique situation yet. So I feel like even if I myself had come from the future and gone and visited my 19-year-old self and given me this list exactly as it is, I don't think it would have cut any time off of my journey. I feel like I just had to walk through that stuff and learn to understand these things in a really practical way that I could apply on a day-to-day basis. So even though I'm putting this out there and sharing it, I fully recognize these are just my experiences. And this is the stuff that I would tell myself, and the stuff that I tell myself on a regular basis still today. So as I said in the 7 things, there really are no quick fixes, and this list is included in that. None of these are quick fixes. They're just things that I've learned and am continuing to learn, and hopefully some of them connect for some of you and maybe can be inspiring. But even if you totally agree on an intellectual level that everything here is true, don't get frustrated with yourself if you're not able to apply it, tomorrow. So I wouldn't think of it that way. Just think of it as hearing somebody else's experience and maybe seeing where it connects for you or not, and then just letting yourself continue to grow and approach things in that organic way as they come to you, and just keep going step by step. So that's it. I hope that makes sense, and hope you all have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.